In late September 2023, one mountain road filled bumper to bumper and stayed that way for days. In roughly a week, more than 100,000 people, nearly the entire Armenian population of Nagorno-Karabakh, drove out for what most assumed was the last time. No formal expulsion order was ever issued. Nobody had to issue one. Nagorno-Karabakh is a mountainous region of roughly 4,400 square kilometers inside the internationally recognized borders of Azerbaijan, populated for generations mostly by ethnic Armenians. In 1921, Soviet authorities placed it under Azerbaijani administration as an autonomous region. A decision neither side agrees was made fairly, though for very different reasons. Two wars were fought over it after the Soviet Union's collapse, one from 1988 to 1994 that killed an estimated 25,000 to 30,000 people and displaced over 1 million on both sides combined, and a second in 2020 that lasted 44 days. By January 2024, the self-declared Republic of Artsakh had formally dissolved, and its population had already left. 1921. Soviet Russia's regional authority assigns Nagorno-Karabakh over Armenian objections to the Azerbaijan Soviet Socialist Republic as an autonomous oblast. February 1988. Mass demonstrations in the regional capital, Stepanakert, demand transfer to Soviet Armenia, igniting a conflict that outlives the Soviet Union itself. 1991. As the USSR collapses, Nagorno-Karabakh holds its own referendum and declares independence, citing the same Soviet law that let other republics do the same. 1992 to 1994. Full-scale war kills tens of thousands. In February 1992, hundreds of Azerbaijani civilians are killed at Khojaly, one of the conflict's defining atrocities. By the 1994 ceasefire, Armenian forces control not just Karabakh, but 7 surrounding Azerbaijani districts, and some 700,000 Azerbaijanis are displaced. 2020, a 44-day war, fought with Turkish-supplied drones on Azerbaijan's side, reverses much of the 1994 outcome. A Russian-brokered ceasefire deploys nearly 2,000 Russian peacekeepers to guard what's left. December 2022, Azerbaijan begins blockading the Lakan Corridor, the region's only road to Armenia. September 19th and 2023, a lightning Azerbaijani military operation ends Armenian control in 2 days. By early October, more than 100,000 people have fled. In January 2024, the Republic of Artsakh dissolves itself. Ask an Armenian why Karabakh should have been theirs, and the argument starts with a map that predates the Soviet Union by centuries. Armenian churches, monasteries, and populations documented in the region since antiquity, administered with real autonomy under earlier empires, before Soviet planners erased that in a single 1921 bureaucratic decision, made public by some accounts only after Armenia had already been told the opposite. The 1988 movement and 1991 referendum in this frame were not secession. They were correction, using the same Soviet legal mechanism that let Armenia, Azerbaijan, and a dozen other republics leave the USSR as sovereign states. And running underneath all of it is a fear that isn't abstract. Armenians had, within living memory, watched an ethnic Armenian population elsewhere in the region be destroyed. The 1915 genocide under the Ottoman Empire, whose modern successor, Turkey, armed and trained the Azerbaijani military that ultimately retook Karabakh. For many Armenians, leaving Karabakh's fate to Azerbaijan's promises wasn't caution. It was a bet they weren't willing to lose twice. Ask an Azerbaijani the same question, and the argument starts somewhere. The international system itself already agrees. Nagorno-Karabakh is, under recognized borders, even Armenia, never formally disputed at the UN, sovereign Azerbaijani territory. 4 United Nations Security Council resolutions in 1993 all say the same thing. Armenian forces must withdraw from occupied Azerbaijani land, and for the following 3 decades, Azerbaijan's position was simply that a UN-recognized occupation had gone unenforced, not that a new state deserved recognition. That occupation had a human cost. Azerbaijan says the world routinely forgets. Roughly 700,000 Azerbaijanis displaced from Karabakh and 7 surrounding districts in the 1990s, many never allowed to return for 30 years, and the killing of hundreds of Azerbaijani civilians at Khojaly in February 1992, an event Azerbaijan has spent decades trying to get recognized internationally, with only partial success. When Azerbaijan calls its 2020 and 2023 campaigns a restoration of territorial integrity, it means literally enforcing a UN resolution nobody else was enforcing, and resettling its own displaced people back into towns they'd waited a generation to see again. Here's what neither government's account fully explains. In 2020, Russia deployed nearly 2,000 peacekeepers to Nagorno-Karabakh with an explicit mandate to guarantee safe passage and protect the local population, a guarantee both Armenia and the region's Armenians treated as their actual security backstop, more than any clause in any treaty. When Azerbaijan blockaded the only road in and out for 9 months starting in December 2022, the Russian peacekeepers stationed along that exact road did not intervene. When Azerbaijan's military ended the conflict in a single lightning operation in September 2023, the 2,000-strong peacekeeping force did not intervene then either. Within about a week, more than 100,000 people, the population that force was specifically there to protect, left anyway on their own, in their own cars. Russia accepted Azerbaijan's apology for the operation within days. By the following spring, Russian peacekeepers were quietly withdrawing from a region where, by their own account, there was no longer a population left to protect. Every episode in this series has asked what happened, who gets to interpret it, and who a peace agreement actually binds. This one adds a harder question still. A guarantee is only as real as someone's willingness to enforce it, once enforcing it stops being convenient. Self-determination and territorial integrity are both principles the international system claims to defend. International law never actually resolved which one wins when they collide here, and in the end, neither government's legal argument was what decided Karabakh's fate. What decided it was which side still had an army willing to act, and which side's guarantor quietly decided the mission was over. A road that filled with cars and didn't empty for days. A peacekeeping force that watched. And a republic that dissolved itself rather than wait for someone else to do it. Next time, we follow the fear that ran underneath this entire episode back to its source. A genocide over a century old that one country has never stopped denying, and that recognizing it, even today, can still end a diplomatic relationship overnight.